There is a bill you have not opened. Not because you forgot, you know exactly where it is. You just cannot make yourself look at it. That is not a character flaw. That is a nervous system doing precisely what nervous systems do when they detect a threat. The standard story about debt goes like this. People fall behind on payments because they lack financial literacy, or self-control, or both. They spend impulsively. They do not budget. They do not understand compound interest. The solution then is education. Teach people how money works. Give them spreadsheets, apps, debt payoff calculators. Help them see the math clearly, and they will make better decisions. This is not a stupid idea. Financial literacy does matter. Understanding interest rates and minimum payments and amortization schedules genuinely helps people make more informed choices. There are real gaps in how financial concepts are taught or not taught, and closing those gaps has measurable value, but the model has a problem. If information were the main barrier, then people who already understand debt, who can explain compound interest, who have seen the math, who know exactly what their balance is and what it costs them every month, those people should not be stuck. They should be fine. And yet they are not. Many of them are doing the same thing everyone else is. Avoiding statements, deflecting conversations, making minimum payments while telling themselves they will deal with it properly next month. Knowing has not helped them act, so something else is going on, and it is not discipline. It is not motivation. It is happening at a level below cognition, in the parts of the brain that decide, before you are even aware of it, whether something is safe enough to approach. Here's the thing about avoidance. It is not passive. It requires effort. When someone does not open a credit card statement, that is not nothing happening. That is the brain actively redirecting attention away from a perceived threat. The same circuits that would have you pull your hand from a flame are quietly, efficiently steering you away from a number on a screen. The conventional framing measures this as irresponsibility. What it actually looks like, neurologically, is threat response. Shame is one of the most physiologically activating emotions humans experience. It is not sadness, which tends to reduce arousal. Shame spikes it. Heart rate climbs. The prefrontal cortex, the region most responsible for deliberate planning, consequence evaluation, and what researchers call executive function, begins to go offline. Not metaphorically, literally. The regulatory capacity of that region degrades under acute emotional stress.
Research into prefrontal function has clarified this substantially over the past decade.
The ventromedial prefrontal cortex in particular plays a central role in integrating emotional states with decision-making. When that region is disrupted by stress, by fear, by shame, people do not simply make worse financial decisions. They struggle to engage with the decision at all. The mind treats the problem as unprocessable and moves away from it. The engineer's framing is worth pausing on here. The brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It detected something that felt dangerous. A number, a statement, a conversation, and it protected the organism from it. The system is working correctly. The environment is wrong. Or more precisely, the emotional architecture around debt has transformed a solvable problem into something the threat detection system cannot distinguish from a predator. This is the gap the standard model misses entirely. It measures avoidance behavior and labels it laziness. But avoidance, in this context, is a downstream output of a nervous system that has been overwhelmed, not a choice made by someone who does not care. The physiological pathway here is reasonably well documented, though it is worth being precise about what the research does and does not show. Studies on heart rate variability, a measure of how flexibly the autonomic nervous system responds to stress, have found meaningful connections between HRV patterns and cognitive performance, particularly in tasks requiring attention, working memory, and decision-making. When HRV is low, indicating a nervous system locked in a state of chronic stress, the capacity for deliberate, goal-directed thinking is reduced. The link is not just correlational. The proposed mechanism involves vagal tone and its regulatory effects on prefrontal function. This matters for debt because financial decision-making is not a single cognitive act. It requires holding multiple variables in mind simultaneously: balances, interest rates, due dates, income timing, while tolerating the emotional discomfort of acknowledging a problem. That is a high cognitive load task. It is exactly the kind of task that degrades first when stress is elevated and prefrontal regulation is compromised. Research on ventromedial prefrontal function adds another layer. This region is involved not just in decision-making, but in the processing of social emotions, including shame. When people experience shame, this area is engaged in a way that can actually suppress approach behavior. The evidence suggests this suppression is not a bug in the system. In social contexts, shame historically served a function. It signaled status threat and triggered withdrawal to prevent further social damage. The problem is that the brain does not cleanly distinguish between social shame and financial shame. A debt is not a social predator, but it can feel like one. The Jungian lens surfaces something here that neuroscience alone does not fully capture. Debt is rarely just a number. It carries meaning, about worth, about deserving, about what kind of person handles money the way you have. People do not just avoid the statement, they avoid what opening it will confirm about themselves. That is a different problem than not knowing how compound interest works. Now, what this evidence does not prove, it does not establish that shame is the only driver of financial avoidance, or that financial literacy has no value. The research base here is built largely from laboratory studies of emotional regulation and decision-making, controlled conditions that may not translate perfectly to the complexity of real financial lives. The specific claim that shame-induced prefrontal suppression directly causes debt avoidance in the way described here is a reasonable inference from converging lines of evidence. It is not yet a cleanly replicated finding in a financial context specifically. What the evidence does support with reasonable confidence is this: chronic stress degrades the exact cognitive capacities that debt management requires. Shame is a potent activator of that stress response. And telling someone to budget better when their prefrontal cortex is offline is roughly as useful as handing someone a map when they are running from a fire. So what does this mean for you practically? It means the guilt you feel about not dealing with your debt might be the very thing making it harder to deal with. Not as a metaphor, as a mechanism. Every time you approach the problem and feel that spike of dread, the one that makes you close the tab, set the statement aside, tell yourself you will look at it later, your nervous system is logging that. It is building an association. Debt-related information becomes threat-adjacent, and over time, your threat detection system becomes more efficient at steering you away from it. This reframes what dealing with your debt actually requires. It is not primarily a cognitive task. It is a nervous system task. The math is often the easy part. The hard part is getting your prefrontal cortex back online enough to sit with the discomfort of the numbers without triggering the shutdown that sends you somewhere else. This also reframes what support looks like. Giving someone a better budgeting app does not address the physiological state they are in when they try to use it. Reducing the shame load through non-judgmental framing, through normalizing debt as a structural problem rather than a personal moral failure, may do more for financial behavior than another spreadsheet template. You are not avoiding debt because you do not care. You may be avoiding it because caring too much, in a context where care has become indistinguishable from threat, has made your brain very good at protecting you from the thing you most need to face. There is an uncomfortable tension at the end of all this. If shame makes avoidance worse, then the rational response is to reduce shame. But most of the social and financial infrastructure around debt, collections calls, credit scores, late fees, the general cultural narrative that debt is a personal failing is built to increase it. The system applies more pressure, and the research suggests more pressure may be exactly the wrong intervention for the neurological state most debtors are actually in. That does not mean accountability is irrelevant. It does not resolve the question of what actually motivates change when shame fails. And it does not tell us, cleanly, how to build a financial environment that does not trigger the very response that prevents people from navigating it. Those remain open questions. What seems harder to dismiss after sitting with this evidence is the idea that the person who cannot open the statement is simply not trying hard enough. The research behind this video draws from biological psychiatry, The Lancet, neurology, Frontiers in Neuroscience, BMC Health Services Research, JAMA Network Open. Every claim traces to a published source. Full citations are in the description below. If the way this channel thinks about neuroscience resonates with you, subscribing helps this work reach people who'd appreciate it. New videos on the science of mind